Thanks for joining the Data Science Bootcamp info session. My name is Xiaohua. I'm the co-founder of WeCloudData. I help design, the data science and data engineering bootcamps. So today I'm going to tell you more about different learning options with WeCloudData, and we'll dive deep into the bootcamp curriculum. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to send your questions to Zoom chat. You can unmute yourself and ask questions as well. Okay. So if you are thinking about getting into data science with WeCloudData, you have three options. And first of all, we have recently launched a self-paced bootcamp. So unlike Udemy or Coursera, you have access to not only self-paced learning materials, but also we have weekly uh, one-on-one mentorship. So you will be learning along with a mentor, and you can join office hours as well. The mentors will help you, with any challenges you have, and they help you complete your capstone project. So this might be a great way if you would like to speed up your learning process and they have all the time to dedicate to learning. But it also gives you the flexibility if you have a full-time job. And we also have online live bootcamp. This we've been running the data science bootcamp for 7 years. We've helped a lot of students and graduates find jobs. The third option is what we call the real climb project. So if you have graduated from other boot camps, or you have a master's of data science or computer science, you have knowledge of machine learning, data analytics, and Python, and you struggle to find jobs, or you want to expedite this job search process, the Real Climb Project, program can help you build up your industry knowledge and experience really quickly, and it will give you some advantage in the job market. So let's talk about the self-paced program first. We currently have some discount. We're giving away Gen AI training courses as well. You can talk to our sales team if you're interested. You have access to self-paced learning. We have over 200 hours of content. There are lectures, labs, demos, exercises. Most of the exercise solutions have been recorded as well. And you get access to capstone projects under the mentorship. So you'll be mentored by data scientists who work in industry. You receive learning support on Slack. You can have weekly mentoring sessions. You can also join office hours if you want to drop in and talk to other students and alumni. So it has a very flexible learning plan, and it's completely customized. So at the very beginning of your learning journey, when you join the program, your mentor will be setting learning objectives with you. We've created more than enough material. So if you know Python, you can skip that. And there's some other areas you can focus on. And we also give students the flexibility to take on more learning modules. So if you're really interested in things related to generative AI, we also have those short courses available, which we can add to the self-paced program. Live bootcamp, the next cohort will launch in May. We run a few live cohorts every year. We have two different options. There's a 3 months full-time bootcamp, and we also have a 6 months part-time bootcamp. And they both include portfolio projects. For the full-time program, the Real Climb project is included, and for the part-time program, because students typically have a full-time job already, so they can't really join Real Climb project. So some students will choose to complete the program first, and then later on they will add the real-time project. And both programs comes with an additional 6 months of one-on-one career mentorship. And this is by far the most successful programs we ever have in terms of placement. And we have 90.9% placement in 2021. And these numbers are verified by the education ministry. The most recent number is not published yet because I think it's lagging behind. But basically, they call every single graduates, and then they will also call the employers to validate employment number, and we lead by a big margin. Unfortunately, in the last year, the job market is pretty tough. So we couldn't get to 90%. So we're currently at around 70% placement rate for our graduates. So the bootcamp has four big modules in terms of the curriculum. We start from data fundamentals, and recently we added generative AI with introduction to large language models and things like ChatGPT and how to use that to make your learning and process more efficient. And also we will move on to data science, data analytics with Python after the data fundamental course. After data science, we will focus on machine learning. So 50% of the weight of the bootcamp is allocated to machine learning, including deep learning, and then students will move on to big data. In the big data course, we focus quite a bit on Amazon Web Services. We covered, different managed service by AWS, and students will also learn Apache Spark, Spark ML, and learn how to build real-time sentiment analysis applications. So that's what the bootcamp is about. And after graduation, students will work on real client project when they go through the one-on-one career mentoring. I'll share more details with you shortly. And about the real client project, it has some self-paced training material as well. We not only teach you, I guess, the technical skills, but also we help students to build up their project management experience because you will be working on real-time projects. Each student will be paired with 2 to 3 real clients. Some students choose to focus on just one big project with one client. Some students will prefer to work on different projects with different clients, and also it depends on the type of projects we have when you join the program. The duration for the real client project is 6 months, but you can purchase each project as well. So if you just want 3 months, you can join one real client project. Okay, and it comes with optional career mentorship. Some students need it and some students don't need it. They're just here for the real client project. It all depends on what you need, and we tend to be pretty flexible with this. The good thing about the self-paced learning and real client project is that you can start anytime, so it's not cohort based. Now let's introduce the boot camps to you. A typical boot camp runs for 3 months, right? 12 to 15 weeks, and you have a demo day or demo week. And after that, the student will enter, a career support period. That's, what a typical boot camp experience looks like. With WeCloudData's full-time boot camp, you go through 3 months of training. You complete 2 to 3 capstone projects. And after graduation, actually, we dedicate another 6 months to help students build up their real experience. And our tuition fee is not higher than our competitors. So I think that's the real advantage WeCloudData offer. What you get from other boot camps, just 3 months training. With WeCloudData, you have also 6 months of real-time project experience. You don't expect to get a job right, after graduation nowadays. I think it used to be pretty common that students get jobs even during the boot camp. That's not the case anymore. So as you go through the job search process, I think working on real-time projects not only help you improve your project experience, your skill set, but also it gives you a really big advantage in the job market. We have career workshops. So students will need to do complete capstone project presentations, but they also go through group workshops. So we introduce things like how to write resumes, mock interviews, you do peer practice. And then after that, you have one-on-one career mentoring. That's included in the tuition as well. So that's the full-time boot camp. And we also have a part-time option. the duration of the training is longer, right? It doubles because students spend about 10 hours per week with us. So it runs for about 24 weeks. So that's the 6 months, training. And again, you have more time to complete project, but you attend less classes, I guess. And after graduation, students also get the opportunity to work on real-time project. The part-time bootcamp tuition is lower because we don't include the real-time project. So it is actually lower than a regular bootcamp. But this is a additional package you can purchase if you want the real-time project, because some students have full-time jobs, then they can't really join those real-time meetings, project meetings during the day. And career workshop, one-on-one career mentoring, these are exactly the same as full-time program. So part-time program give you more flexibility, and it's going to take longer, but you also get to spend more time on learning. We do have very, very good learning outcome, as I said. Here we pulled different numbers from the ministry's website, comparing WeCloudData to some other boot camps. If you look at the column in the middle, in terms of employment rate, we have, but again, this is 2021. I believe this year's 2022 number will be published this year. So it's usually like a year and a half behind. Our current employment rate is 70%. It's way lower, but I think that's the market reality. No one is expecting a 90% employment rate anymore, because the market is pretty tough, but it's tough across the board. But yeah, 2021 was a really good year, I think, for everyone. So 90%. And I think the second highest, bootcamp was at 84%. And then the third highest is 83%. But again, like most boot camps, you'll see they have 95% employment rate. But what's more important is, looking at the employment rate in the data field, right? So if you join a data science program, at least you expect to get a data analytics, data science, or data engineering job. And 100% of our students work in data. But if you look at that number, it dropped significantly for other bootcamp graduates. That's a huge difference here, because of the way people calculate, employment rate. If it's a part-time job not related to data, you're still considered to be employed. So, pay close attention when you look at those numbers. All right, so that's the bootcamp different options. Now, I would like to go through the data science bootcamp curriculum. And I see. Okay, cool. Let's talk about the curriculum. First of all, in a data science bootcamp, you need to have the fundamental skills. Data fundamentals include Python, SQL, and basics of data visualization, and also Excel. I think Excel is still a very important skill set to have. So we recently added generative AI to the data fundamental course as well as a prerequisite. So here by Gen AI, I'm not talking about large language modeling or fine tunings and all the transformer deep learning stuff, but it's more about using generative AI tools and low code and no code machine learning tools to make yourself more efficient. I think that's an important skill set everyone need to have. Some of the topics we cover: SQL, introducing databases, queries, basics of data visualizations, and student will work on SQL projects as well. By the way, when you join a live bootcamp, you only have limited number of hours per week, right? So in a lecture, the instructor can only cover so much. We won't be able to cover everything like nitty-gritties of SQL and stuff. However, all students in our live bootcamp will have access to the self-paced learning material, and which covers everything in more detail. So it will have things such as, for example, for SQL, then there will be advanced SQL, SQL stored procedures, and some of those things that we don't necessarily cover in the boot camp. Okay. Python, we cover the basics of Python programming, functions, modules. And again, in a data science bootcamp, right, when you attend live classes, we don't cover object-oriented programming because the bootcamp itself is 12 weeks. And there's so many other things we need to learn, and we tend to focus on the practical side. Object-oriented programming is really nice to know. But we again we include that in the self-paced learning courses, and we go pretty deep into Python classes and some of the other Python useful modules. But in the boot camp itself, it's more about learning enough Python so that you can move on to do data analysis, and then your Python knowledge will increase over time as you start to work on things like machine learning, deep learning, as well as working with cloud APIs such as AWS, Bodo 3, and PySpark. So there's plenty of opportunity to practice Python, but in the first 2 weeks, we focus on building up the fundamental knowledge of Python. This is where we cover data frames and the basic data analysis and data collection. So some students will be working on data scraping projects, which is actually very fun to work with. Tableau, Power BI, we have a ton of self-paced learning materials. These are included in the boot camp. Students will be using Tableau to complete a small project, but this is not the course it's not a BI boot camp that focuses on the nitty-gritties of Tableau, but you have access to self-paced learning materials as well. Okay. And Gen AI, we introduce students to generative AI, the life cycle of large language models and different use cases and applications. We teach you prompt engineering, and students will be learning, the ethics of Gen AI, potential risks, best practices, and also we cover AI automation. AI automation is very, very useful. It doesn't necessarily help you get a data science job, but you can definitely become more efficient at writing queries and summarizing your emails and anything that's related to productivity. I think AI automation can help. So that's the fundamental part of the bootcamp. Some of these will be self-paced. SQL Python will be live training, and Gen AI will be live training. You also have access to more self-paced learning material. You can use this as pre-bootcamp material, or you can learn more about these as you go through the bootcamp. We also have self-paced no-code ML and no-code AI content. Again, because in the bootcamp, we focus on actually writing code to build machine learning models. So no-code ML is something nice to know. It should be pretty intuitive for anyone who graduates from a data science bootcamp. So we provide recordings of lectures, but you will have access to some of the really interesting tools such as SageMaker Canvas, Nime, or some students prefer to use RapidMiner, but there's H2O as well. Okay. All right. So speaking of generative AI, it's part of machine learning and deep learning, and has specific use cases in things like LLM, NLP, as well as computer vision. So we think that most of us will be the end users of Gen AI technologies, right? So we need to better at prompt engineering so we can become more efficient. Even data scientists, data engineers, and software engineers need to know how to do prompting. So and work with things like tools like Copilot so you can become more efficient. It helps you save time as well, right? You can use Gen AI tools to help you with machine learning tasks. For example, you can use LLM to help you label data, generate synthetic data. There are a lot of research going on in data synthesization, data generation, and augmentation. So this can be quite useful if you want to build ML applications. And some of you, or maybe some of our graduates, will move on to build Gen AI applications. And I'm talking about machine learning and AI engineering. So students will learn, more about deep learning and its use cases, in applications in natural language processing, whether it's building RAG applications or fine-tune large language models. that's what the student can continue to learn after graduation. So just a quick introduction to generative AI. Like machine learning, it expects input and gives output. And you can think of generative AI as a black box. When we use ChatGPT, we sort of do prompting. The text prompt is the input, and we expect an image as output, or the summarization of something as an output. And there are different LLM models out there. I think Llama 3 just got open source. And interestingly, one of the database vendors, Snowflake DB, they just announced Arctic large language model yesterday, which is on par with Llama 3, which is very interesting, and the cost is also lower. So even the database vendors start to put effort into LLM. So that's definitely the future. And some of the interesting applications are, SQL generation. So you can actually do prompting and ask an AI agent to write SQL queries for you. I think that's great news for data scientists, data engineers, and data analysts. It's not going to replace your job, but it's going to make your life so much easier so you can focus on the more important stuff. Okay, so that's the benefit of generative AI, and large language model is just a subset of it, right? And it focuses on language generation. So it's essentially an autoregressive model that predicts the next token or the next word. So sometimes people call that the next word predictor. I won't dive deep into this today. I've done some other events in the past. You can go to our YouTube channel to read more about or watch some of the past recordings about LLM introduction. Okay. In terms of AI automation, we cover some of these tools, not all. SageMaker is what we cover in the big data portion of the data science bootcamp. We cover SageMaker notebooks, how to use SageMaker ground truth to do data annotation and labeling. We also cover Canvas, which is a no-code AI tool. You can use Canvas to train machine learning models without writing any single line of code. But you can use the data wrangler service to prepare data as well. H2O.ai is or H2O Flow is one of the no-code AI tool. There's KNIME RapidMiner as well. So we cover KNIME in the Gen AI no-code AI course, which is part of the data science bootcamp. But we'll also have some tutorials about H2O.ai. In terms of the actual LLM Gen AI tools, students will be working with OpenAI. Right now GPT-4, but students will be writing, Python scripts to interact with LLM. In the future, we might introduce other tools like LangChain, but right now, those are the things that we cover in the AI engineering bootcamp. Okay. We teach students Zapier and teach, specifically focusing on workflow automation. So students will be, using Zapier to automate, a workflow that involves, OpenAI and generative models. So it's very interesting, and I think this is something we all need to learn. All right, skipping some of these details and moving on to the bootcamp curriculum. So after you learn data fundamental and Gen AI, the next step is data science. So the reason why we introduce Gen AI even before we start data science is because we firmly believe that student can actually use Gen AI or ChatGPT as a tool, as a learning tool, the learning assistant. I think you need to get comfortable with prompting. It makes grading tough because now even in interviews, people can sort of leverage ChatGPT to answer questions, interview questions. But I think in real life, we're all getting used to doing prompt engineering and asking AI agents questions. It's not replacing us; it's replacing things like Google and Stack Overflow. So I do think that you need to be good at Google and good at prompting, and that's going to help you learn things a lot faster. So maybe down the road, right, when you join a boot camp, it's not just going to teach you data science. And because we all have Gen AI tools, and I think the future jobs may expect you to wear multiple hats, and you really need to learn quickly. And but you can't imagine yourself going through three different boot camps in order to do data science, data engineering, and AI. Maybe you attend one boot camp, but you come out of the boot camp knowing a lot of different things, and you have the full confidence in leveraging learning tools and AI tools to be very efficient at learning new things. And I think that might actually happen. So after Gen AI, data fundamental, we introduce data science before we move on to machine learning. And machine learning, I consider that as part of data science, but the data science in particular here is really just data science with Python, data wrangling, the data aspects of data science. So we covered data collection. It's important to understand how to build end-to-end applications, even for data scientists. So we cover things like working with APIs, using web scraping tools, or working with web scraping libraries such as Beautiful Soup, Selenium, and some students will be working with different even more advanced tools such as Python Scrappy, or working with some other tools for large scale scraping. After you learn how to do data collection, I think the next step is data cleaning and data manipulation, or data wrangling. This is where you learn more about Panda's data frame, and also how to do data preparation for data science and machine learning. And you will learn how to do data analysis, visualization as well, with a focus on Python tools. So yeah, data exploration, data preparation for data science and machine learning. We cover statistics, so regression analysis, predictive analytics, clustering, and also introduce auto ML here as well. So that's just the fundamentals before we move on to actual machine learning course. And some of the real life data sets students will be working with include A/B testing, doing Google Analytics, digital analytics, and some of the data sets are actually pulled from real life data sources. Industry use cases we cover here include product analytics and digital analytics. Okay, so and then after data science, we move on to machine learning. As I said, we spend quite a bit of effort, almost 40-50% of the boot camp is machine learning. So we introduce students to mathematics, linear algebra, calculus, statistics, and some of the optimization methods. We actually don't run a lot of classes on on mathematics. There will be self-paced learning materials. So in the boot camp, we cover just enough math, so students don't get bored. And it's important to move on to the practical side. But if you want to learn more about math, we have additional materials that we recorded that you can go through. Before we jump into machine learning and different algorithms, we covered the basic workflow. So how to load data, how to split data, how to train models, evaluate the model's performance, and do validation. And once we cover the end-to-end workflow, we start to dive deeper into each steps in the workflow, including feature engineering, feature selection, covering more advanced algorithms such as ensemble modeling, building ML pipelines, writing custom transformers, model interpretation, and then we move on to unsupervised learning. Things like clustering, anomaly detection, and dimension reduction. We also spend some time on deep learning. So we'll teach student PyTorch, the basics of computer vision and image classification, natural language processing as well. So Word2Vec, embeddings, topic models, text classification. There will be some introduction to LLMs as well. So we also cover tools like Scikit LLM. So that's machine learning in the data science bootcamp, and we focus on some of the real life, data problems. Some of the data sets are provided by our clients, redacted, that we can use for teaching. So there are data sets from Google Analytics, Google, Ads. We have data projects we have worked on with Web3 companies, doing topic modeling and competitive analysis. Some of those involve machine learning. So students will learn quite a bit use cases and also get access to some of the real life data sets, data problems. After machine learning, we start to cover big data. The reason why we cover big data is because we think that data scientists wanted to know how to scale machine learning problems, especially with Spark ML, and also doing things in the cloud. So in the big data course, we introduce students to distributed systems. But before we jump into Apache Spark, we also cover how to scale pandas. There are different ways to make pandas, or alternative ways to make data frames run more efficiently. There are new libraries such as Ray. There's also Polar, which is based on Rust, but it has a Python API, so which is pretty cool. And then we introduce Amazon Web Services, and students will learn how to work with Data Lake, S3, EC2, and then we move on to the Spark ecosystem. So we cover data frame, again, Spark SQL, and then quickly move on to Spark machine learning, building pipelines, and students will need to work on some real time portfolio project, which has some real time data streaming, like streaming data analytics components. We also cover SageMaker, as I mentioned, how to deploy endpoints, how to do data annotation, scale your machine learning training pipeline, and deploy model as well, but not to the extent of MLOps, like what we cover in the MLOps engineering bootcamp. But you will learn enough about model deployment in the big data part of the bootcamp. Okay. And some of the industry use cases, social media data analysis. Students will need to complete a real-time sentiment analysis or sentiment prediction project. So we go all the way from training the model locally, scaling that using Spark ML, streaming the data using Kinesis, and also using Spark Streaming to do real-time prediction. So it's a pretty fun project to work on and give you some exposure to real-time data analytics as well. So that's it. That's an introduction to the full curriculum of the data science bootcamp. And I think after you graduate from the bootcamp, you've learned a lot of new skills, and it will be pretty confident in your coding skills as well. So on your resume, then you will be able to add, coding, programming, data analytics related experience, machine learning, big data, cloud. So that should give you enough keywords to catch hiring companies' attention. But the job market is still pretty tough and competitive. So adding keywords is not enough, right? So I think you need to, if you look at the way people write resumes, you need you need to have the right skill set, but you also need to have relevant experience. Relevant experience is very important. So this is where the real client project can really help you build experiences and advantages. Okay, so I just had a quick introduction to the data science bootcamp. If you have any questions about the curriculum, the schedule, career support, feel free to send your questions to chat. And now I'm going to talk about some of the data science job skills. Okay, if you want to get a job, you need to have more than just skill sets, right? Hard skills. So if you look at the data science jobs, right, an aspiring data scientist have learned all kinds of skill set from different sources. You've learned SQL, Python, Spark, ML, AWS, right? Deep learning, but that's already many months of effort. It doesn't always lead to a job, right? That's because hard skills doesn't mean job skills. They are not very different. So I think job skills is something that everyone needs to focus on after they have gone through some sort of formal training, right, or self-paced learning. I'd like to break it down by how things work in real life, right? Let's say you are going to, or the data science team is going to tackle a data project, right? So typically it starts from scoping out the project, right? Defining the business requirements, and then you move on to data requirements, right? So you need to understand what the business goal is first, and then you need to think about whether you have the right data if you want to do data science, right? Obviously, you need to have the right data, and then you need to model and prepare the data properly before you move on to data analytics. But then also, the modeling here also include, machine learning, predictive modeling, and then the end product might be actionable insights, right, for the business team. Maybe 50, 60, even 70% of the work data scientists do are actually creating insights for the business. Insights doesn't always mean just data analytics and visualization, right? It could mean that you build a machine learning model, but the goal is for interpretation or understanding your customer behavior. And part of the work will go into production, which means you're going to automate the model prediction, or you build prediction engines, or endpoints where your machine learning models can be used in other services. And once it's put in production, you have to do test and learn, right? You also need to monitor everything in production. So let's break this down. Since we're talking about job skills, right? What happens when we scope out a project, right? We need to gather requirements. That requires, a lot of communication, like strong communication skills. You need to be comfortable discussing business requirements with your stakeholders, right? Whether it's internal clients or external clients, you might need to do some feasibility analysis, right? Because sometimes you don't even need machine learning, right, for your problem. Or maybe what the client wants to achieve is not feasible, okay? It requires cross-functional communication as well. You might need to talk to IT, talk to the business team, right? And talk to the engineering team as well. You need to be comfortable writing technical proposal, right? As well as working as a data science architect. As a junior data scientist, I don't think you get to work on all of these. It might be your manager doing all of these work, or maybe the director. But these are important skill set to have. Imagine you're joining a data science team that just getting started, right? The company hired a chief data scientist or chief data officer or a director of data science, and he's hiring the first data scientist. He's definitely looking for more than just machine learning skills, because she needs to bring the data scientist to different meetings, gathering requirements, understanding the pain points and challenges, and create suggestions and proposals, right? So you'll be involved in this process and learn a lot. But if you work for a really big team, a big company, established team, and your job scope might be smaller, right? They'll be giving you tasks, and you just need to focus on a small piece of the pie. But still, I think so. I think the technical skill will be more important in those scenarios. Okay, once the project is scoped out, the next step is typically data, right? So once you've done business requirement gathering, now you need to gather data. Do we have the right data infrastructure, right? Do we do everything on-prem, or we move to the cloud? Is there like some sort of governance in place? What's the regulation like, right? In that specific industry, things about data modeling, and you might need to work with the data engineering team and try to understand the data models and even contribute from a business perspective. You don't always leave that to the IT department, because ultimately these data models will serve the end users, and data scientists are one of the end users of these data models and data warehouses. So you do need to understand how that works at a high level. Data collection, you don't have to be the person collecting all of these data in production, but you might need to tell the engineering team what kind of data you need for your machine learning problem, right? Data annotation. So if your data is not labeled, you may need to annotate the data. But if you have lots of data, you may want to do this at scale, and also in a not very expensive way, right? So how do we do that and automate the process? Data pipelines, reporting and analytics. A lot of these are data engineers' job, but as a data scientist, I think you need to understand the process, and you need to understand how to communicate. And after the data requirement gathering, right, the data engineering part, you move on to the actual data science and analytics and machine learning. So this is where you spend a lot of time preparing data set for machine learning, doing feature engineering, predictive modeling. These are the things you will learn in the data science bootcamp. The hard skills, I think, right? But more importantly, you need to be the salesperson for your data science team, because I think the data science teams are usually evaluated by how much value they're generating for the business. The value may not be revenue, right? It could be, helping the company to reduce cost, but sometimes it's very hard to quantify that. You can't always say that, oh, how I helped the company, saved $5 million. Sometimes it's just not easy to tell. But data scientists are still very, very important because you generate a lot of insights, right? That helps the business to make better decisions. So, interpreting your model, help the business understand how the models work, insights and analytics, business communication skills, building trust. In many data science projects fail because the team cannot get buy-in from the business, or the business sort of don't have confidence in the data products you build. So relationship and trust building is extremely important, and every time you communicate, you present, are very important in terms of building trust, and also impact analysis, right? And if you happen to be building data products, maybe you work on the, under the product team, and you most likely be working with project managers, product managers, as well as software engineers. So we'll be building machine learning pipelines, building feature stores, or work with the machine learning engineers on feature store, model persistence, serving, right, logging. Some of these are MLOps stuff, but having a basic understanding of these will be very helpful. It helps you with your career as well. Once things are put in production, you have to test and learn, right? You need to monitor the model performance, monitor the data and feature performance, or maybe the feature drift, doing A/B testing. And so you know how well the model perform in real life, and you're going to test and learn and do reporting and analytics as well. So these are some of the job skills and knowledge you need to have. As you can tell, it goes beyond using tools, scikit-learn, PyTorch, fine-tuning your models. A lot of those are business communication related, and understanding architecture, engineering, and understanding of data engineering, as well as some software engineering and machine learning engineering. And you'll become a more well-rounded data scientist if you have gone through a couple of projects that are end-to-end, right? And then you'll become a senior data scientist. Okay, so what's the difference between junior and senior? Junior data scientist, the first couple of months on your job, your task scope will be narrow. You're still trying to understand the data, right? It's a great opportunity for you to improve your SQL and Python skills. I remember when I joined a company as a data scientist, that was my first job. I didn't get to write my queries on my own. I was given a lot of queries and scripts, and I was reading other people's code, and I run them line by line just to understand the database systems, the data models. And along the way, I become more confident in my SQL skills, right? So that's another way to learn. So you have a lot of documentation to read and run other people's code. Right? That's what you do as a junior data scientist. And you will be reviewing existing code base, right? Doing a lot of reporting and analytics, which is also very important. And along the way, improve your communication skills. And you'll be reading and writing documentations and learning the business ropes, which is also very important. Okay. As a senior data scientist, you will be working more closely with the client, whether it's internal or external client, right? You'll be assessing their needs. You'll oversee end-to-end project implementation, because obviously we work in a team, right? And you'll be implementing more complex tasks, more complicated tasks. You might be working with software team to deploy models in production, and you might get opportunity to present results directly to the clients and teams. You don't need everyone on the team to do presentations. So I think the senior data scientists are the manager might be doing more presentation, and it will be creating the best practices for your team or your company. Okay, so I think that's the difference. And other job skills you need to have. If you look at um, different type of learning resources and in terms of how it can help you achieve the goal. Let's say if you do online courses, there are a ton of resources out there. They typically help you with your technical skills, right? Each small box here, I think I'm referring to one applicant. So there are, many applicants out there. They have the technical skills already, but it doesn't mean they can get the job, right? And for students who graduate from boot camps or have a master's degree, diploma in data science and computer science, they typically have personal project because that's what you do in a boot camp, build projects, right? So there are fewer people who have a decent portfolio out there, but it's going to become your advantage. But with WeCloudData, I think you're building real project experience, and our teaching, I think, is more practical. So you'll be one of those few that actually have advantage in the job market. Okay, so all right, so that's the bootcamp and job skills. And now, lastly, I would like to move on to the job support. So when you join WeCloudData's bootcamp, you're going to get a lot of support, not just learning support, but also job support. We offer 6 months of career mentorship if you're in our part-time or full-time data science bootcamp. I think majority of the boot camps out there don't have this kind of one-on-one support. Everyone say that they have one-on-one support, but it's not a data scientist supporting you. It's usually just the career counselor who are not data scientists, so they can't be that useful when you actually have interviews, right? So let me tell you how WeCloudData helps students, with jobs. A typical journey to job offer, right? You need to go through skill set building, stage. So with WeCloudData, you can do full-time, part-time programs. You can do self-paced learning with mentorship, and then you need to build up your experience. So you do this through portfolio project building. With WeCloudData, you can work on real client projects as well. But the last mile is career mentoring, right? And we offer group career sessions. We do that on a monthly basis. So all the students can join some group sessions. There will be workshops, but we also have one-on-one career mentoring. We offer that for 6 months, and we also have job referral opportunities. For job referrals, I think we also have some new channels that other boot camps don't have. For example, we have a consulting company, and that's how we get the real client projects for our students. And when the students work on projects, sometimes the company we'll work with, they will reach out to us and they would like to hire the students. So sometimes we hire the students directly and put them on those projects to continue. So the student will basically become a consultant with us. Sometimes the company will hire the students directly, right? But we also have job referral opportunities to other companies. Okay, so that's your typical journey to job offer and success with WeCloudData. But we also have very flexible learning, programs. So we have full-time programs, and typically in the full-time program, you finish 3 months of training, and then you do 6 months of client project. Career mentoring can happen after you finish the real client project, but it can also happen at the same time while you're going through the real client project. So these are two different options. And for part-time students, they typically finish 6 months of training first and then consider adding the real client project option. Okay. And we have self-paced bootcamp. Self-paced bootcamp, you have one-on-one check-ins. So you talk to a mentor on a regular basis. It can be on a weekly basis, but we notice that some students, they would prefer to, save the mentor, like weekly mentoring hours to when they need capstone project help. So they would like to use more hours when they actually start to implement project. So that's totally fine. We're flexible with that. When you work on after you finish the career real client project and start the career mentorship, and we provide additional 6 months of support. Okay. When it comes to career support, As I said, we have group career workshops. We do that twice a month, and all students from different programs can join. When the student work on real client project, they receive mentoring from the project lead, project managers. But at the same time, they talk to their data science career mentor on a weekly basis. We have fixed number of hours that the student work with, but some students prefer to do that on a regular basis. But some students will do that whenever they have interviews. So at the very beginning, your career mentors will be setting objective with you. Let's say you have a 6 months job search plan. So they will help you with your resume, identify problems in your resume and tell you how to improve. But also they will tell you what kind of skill set you need to improve. And then maybe the student don't talk to the mentor for a while because they start to search for jobs, right? When the students start to have interviews, they will engage the mentor again to have one-on-one mock interviews. There might be a few sessions the student need, and sometimes when they work on, take-home assignments, the mentor might be able to help them, not helping them with the coding, but maybe give them some guidance as well. So all of these are the support you're getting when you enroll in the program. Okay. And with self-paced bootcamp, students are also getting the weekly learning mentorship, right? So you'll be talking to your learning mentors on a weekly basis if you're going through self-paced training. So you're not attending classes every day, but you'll have more personalized support. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think with the career mentorship and the career workshop, you'll be learning things like how to write your resume, right? Do you need 3-page long resume or just 1 page, right? If you struggle to put relevant experience on a resume, I think you're gonna gain those knowledge. And if you don't know how to structure your resume, we do some workshops, public workshops as well. But in the private career workshops, I think we actually provide more support and help students with the resume instead of just telling them what to do. And with the one-on-one career mentoring, I think the biggest value of the mentor is not just telling you how to improve your resume. They're here actually to provide you, a lot of support and help you realize your strength. And some students, as they go through the job search journey, it could be pretty lonely and you get rejected. And it's very important to have someone around you to give you the confidence, right? Give you the pep talk and help you identify, opportunities for improvement. So you'll be talking with your mentor about, what you did not so well in the interview, or sometimes you don't know what's going on. What was the problem? And I think the mentor will, help you discover those and give you suggestions. So that's what the career mentoring is about. All right. I think that's my introduction to the data science bootcamp. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I think we still have some time. Please, open up and let us know. Thank you for the great introduction to the course. Could you please talk about the schedule of the course and the cost as well as the whole time of the program? Yeah, so I think I introduced that at the beginning. So we have 3 different learning options, self-paced, online, and real client project. The self-paced bootcamp, if you just need access to the self-paced material, along with the career, the learning like the one-on-one mentors and the office hours, I think it's 4,000 USD, or yeah, sorry, I'm not on the sales side. It's either 4,000 or 6,000. I forgot. The live bootcamp is 15,000 Canadian, or maybe around 13,000 US dollar, and we have early bird. And however, so the price is similar to other boot camps, I believe, but it includes real client project for 6 months, one-on-one career mentoring for 6 months. So the value is, pretty good. For the real-time project, it's set 7,000 Canadian, around 6,000 or 5,500 US dollar, and it's 6 months of real-time project. Yeah, so that's the pricing. Self-paced learning, you can start anytime, and it's 6 months. And so that means you get 6 months of learning mentoring on a weekly basis, and you get to complete 2 projects. The live bootcamp, we have a full-time immersive program, which runs for 3 months, 12 weeks. Actually, we do 14 weeks. And we also have a part-time option, which runs for 6 months. So that's the live bootcamp, 3 months or 6 months. And for the real climb project, it runs for 6 months. But if you're only interested in a 3 months project, you can just pay half the fee. I think we recently introduced that. So it's around 3,500 for 3 months of project, working with real companies and working with our project team. So if there are no further questions, I think that's it for this session. I would like to thank everyone for joining the session to learn more about WeCloudData's Data Science Bootcamp, different learning options. If you are on this path to become a data scientist, I wish you all the very best. And good luck with your job search, with your learning journey. Thanks, everyone. I'll talk to you guys later.